Hola, Elena. Thank you so much for jumping on.
Hola, Chiara. Grazie.
And today we got a quite controversial topic that all moms and dads and probably all the families and dynasties have been worrying about. So the looks. Does the baby look like your baby, or does he look like that grumpy grandpa of yours? Will he have the same?
Or like the milkman.
Exactly. Who does he look like? And it's usually met with a bit of worrying and a lot of projections. So yeah, how much light and how much space can we shed on this topic specifically and just allow it to be a little bit more of an interesting point of view rather than a conclusion and a projection. So I love it because you chose. I ask all the facilitator. I said, what do you want to talk about? Because it's a broad topic. You can say whatever. And you were like, I know what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the looks. And so I'm really curious because you were like that immediately. So
I am a mother. Thank you, Chiara, for the invitation. I am a mother of one wonderful person. He's right now he's 25 years old, so I cannot say he's a kid, but he's my kid. And when he was born, like, he was out of me, and the first thing I asked is, has he got any hair? Doesn't matter if he's healthy, if he's complete. No, has he got any hair? Because like in Mexico, you see like these ugly kids that have lots of hair, and then the beautiful kids that like are like in the, Gerber or food commercials. That they don't have like almost any hair, like 3 little hair. No, like if you're pretty, you cannot have hair if you're a newborn.
That's it. That's how it goes.
And then I felt bad for about 1 year.
And then I judged the heck out of myself for asking that question or even making it relevant, as we do.
Because the most important thing should have been, is he healthy? Is he complete? Is he good? No,
well, not necessarily.
So it was really interesting, for like this thing of the looks haunted me for a long time. And then when he was about a year old, we were in a party with some other people, and it was the time of changing diapers.
Mm-hmm.
And there was another person with her son and her husband and my husband. So we were changing diapers, and you could see really clearly that my son had something that theirs didn't.
I love how this conversation is going. It's like,
and my husband was so proud of himself, like he was the one who created that. And he was obviously superior to the other person, because the other person didn't give enough of material to work.
Oh my gosh.
So how insane is this idea of the image, the right image? Like, is your baby the right color, the right hair, the right size? How insane are we on that?
Oh my gosh.
How much do we judge ourselves for that?
Oh my gosh. And even like, I don't know if we're going to go down that road, but like, even with the topic of discapacities, so-called discapacities. So I don't know, like, and even just very physiological ones. So babies that do not sleep. I have a friend, a dear friend that just wrote to me yesterday, and he was like, man, sleep training is tremendous, And it was just like, and I could sense the self-judgment in his voice of like, what is it that I did right with my first daughter? And then with my second born, I can't make him sleep. What is it, well,
obviously she is wrong, no?
Of course, or exactly. So it is interesting how many insanities and fantasies that I kind of feel they go really, hand in hand somehow. We project on our kids, and do they sense that?
Oh yeah. So I have another little story, and that's one of the reasons also to have this conversation on this topic. So I used to be married a long time ago, and one of my ex-husband's sisters has 2 daughters.
Mhm.
One is very Mexican looking. So her skin is bronze, her hair is very dark, her eyes are very big. She's super beautiful. I can say, like, if she and her sister were in the, beauty pageant,
competition, yeah.
she would totally own the competition. And then her daughter, their sister was born. She's blonde with blue eyes. She's not that beautiful, but she's blonde with blue eyes. So everybody came to visit the girl in Mexico. This is an issue. Like, the blonder you are, it's the most beautiful. Very interesting.
Yes.
So everybody came to visit the little baby girl, and they were like, oh my God, she's so white, she's so blonde, she's so light skin.
Oh yeah.
And the other girl was about 3 years old. And one day I was visiting, and she comes with talcum powder in her face.
No.
And she's like, Mommy, can you love me again? I'm white like my sister.
Oh
And I was like,
no.
what we do to kids with our comments, with our projections, with our expectations. Even if we don't, nobody wants to harm the girl, but she could feel the difference.
Indeed.
So what if we stopped looking at the image and started being present with the being?
Totally. And it's phenomenal, just what you said about, like, what image of him or her do I have that is not living up to somehow, which is a very brutal question. I mean, it takes a lot of vulnerability to ask yourself that, and to be brutally honest with yourself and be like, oh man, like I do have projection. I do think that this is nicer or healthier or whatever, and we do it with the looks, but what about the choices? Like, I do see that even, like, I don't know, the time that my kids spend on screen, like that they would spend on screen, I judge it. And I say, I mean, I'm not, I see that with the access tools, it's much easier to work on that. But if, for example, one of my kids is not so spontaneously driven to the screen, I'm like, yeah, like, bring it on, boo, you rock, like something like this. And if, I don't know, the other one would stay hours and hours, I'm way more like, there is something else. Also understanding that, they do have a phase, like we did have phases, so of course, whatever. So what about, so you were talking also about pretty cultural things, like,
Totally. Which make us normal within what we feel comfortable. Like, it's so interesting. When I was in Japan, I am quite a large woman. I am very tall, and I am not thin. Mm-hmm. And it was super interesting to be, for example, in the subway. Like, Japanese people were looking at me like this. And I was like, what do I have? Like, I am stained, or what happens? Huh?
Do I stink? Yeah.
Yeah, do I stink? Because it was so far away from their reality.
Totally.
And that is also something super interesting. What have you decided that is normal for you? Like, you can compare to, if you like swimming, you can compare to the swimmer in the next lane.
Yeah, lane.
But you will never compare to Michael Phelps. If you think you have to be beautiful, you will compare to your sister, to your friends, but you will never compare to a superstar. Indeed. Because that's another league. And how much do we use comparison to judge ourselves and stay as normal as possible? And how much that kids, like, really take on that. Totally. I don't know in Italy how it is. In Mexico, there is this thing that you see little girls 3-4 years that think they're fat. because they have a
Me too. Already.
baby body, like
Yeah.
round,
Yeah.
not flat abdomen, for example. No?
Of course. I mean, yeah.
Because every word in the environment says you need to lose weight, you need to lose weight, and then we are like, oh, this is so weird. Oh, maybe she's wrong because she wants to lose weight, but she's not fat. What happened? Is we are training her, we are training them with all these projections, expectations.
Completely. And I was wondering, what would it take to train ourselves and, in the process of training our kids to have their own reality, train ourselves back into being the anomaly that you truly be, and knowing that you don't fit and you will never fit, both in any comparison with any lane or any different league that you might think of. Because I saw that. I have a little story. I have 3 kids, and my younger one, he was when he was a baby, was way, well, not even chubbier, but it was like penguin shaped, like a little bit rounder than his brothers. And his brothers were like, they used to say like, oh, look, Leon, you got a big belly, you're chubby. And Leon was so proud of his belly. He would just like, touch his belly and be like, I know. But he would be like, oh, there's so much of me, I'm amazing. He was so proud of himself. And I was looking at him and I was like, that's awesome. Like, he doesn't even have a point of view. And I cannot say it was fat, but the baby shapes.
Baby shape.
Exactly. He was so proud. I remember him touching his body and his belly and be like, yeah, how do you get so lucky that you got so many size of me to adore, or something like this? And he would not even consider judging himself. And I wonder, what would it be like if we kind of gifted ourselves first off. And maybe it's easier when you have kids, because you kind of know you're doing to inspire them as well. So, if you kind of gave up on you for whatever stupid reason we did, but we thought maybe it was too much effort, or, whatever, you kind of gave up on you. When having kids, it's a really new stimulus to be like, okay, let's inspire them to greater. Let's inspire them and me to something greater, really.
And I love what you say about inspire me, because kids don't do what you tell them, they do what you do.
Yeah.
So if you look at the mirror every day and say, oh, this is ugly, this is too fat, this is too small, this is too big, what they learn is to judge. So maybe, just maybe, your kid didn't judge him because he has something in the house that is magic.
Maybe. I like to think that's it. I think, though, I do really think that having kids is a bit like being an etholog. So, the person that studies animal. I'm constantly, I feel I could stay with, my cup of tea for hours to just watch my kids interact, because I think it's so, like, it's I don't know, I think it's very funny. And I saw a couple of episodes, and I recall 2 of them, where my kids acted in a way that they could have never seen anywhere, because nobody did that. And once it was my second son, Martin, and he was like unsetting the table. It was very small. It was maybe 1. And he had this like dish with maybe a couple of pasta bits on it. And then he was just bringing his little plate to the dishwasher, and then a bit of pasta fell. And I was like, oh, Martin, watch it. There is a bit of pasta, so he wouldn't step over it. And instead of like getting the piece with his hands, he just held the plates with the 2 hands, and then he kneed down, and then he took it with his mouth, and then he kept on going to the dishwasher. And I was like, I mean, that's a way like any other good way. I mean, is that working? It is working. So, of course. But I was seeing them not referring to anything, to have their own reality. And the second episode, which I find it, I don't know, I found it very funny. I was there. My third son, he got out of the shower, and he was, wet and, steamy, etc. And and he saw, we had a kitten at the time, and he saw the kitten passing by, and he got him, and he started to pat himself dry with the cat, just as if it was a towel. And I was like, I mean, if the kitten doesn't, harm you in any way, I guess that works, no? And I love how kids inspire us to not necessarily be normal or go down the same road that everyone has been, but rather, choose what works. And sometimes it's so elegant and pragmatic that it's like, I don't know, creates a lot of admiration for me. I'm like, dude, you rock. That's really cool.
Totally, yeah. My son had so many stories in school, because he was in a very traditional school that had a very, very high level of study.
Mm-hmm.
So when he was about maybe 10 years old, he didn't like the method because they were strict. And then I told him, like, we can see other schools. We went to see other schools. He didn't like them because he was like, they don't learn anything in those schools. Like, at least I learned something. Okay, so you stay here, but you cannot be like rebel, because they will take you out. So what he did is he started to push like the rules of the school to make them work for him. Wow. One thing he did amazingly, he is highly intelligent, and he has a little bit of extra activity. He's
I love how you try a way to say it. I'm like, a little.
He has a lot of energy, that we say. So what happens in a normal school, they give a lesson 4, 5, 6 times until even the dumbest of the kids get it. So he gets it in the first time, and the other 5 times he's getting bored out of his mind, and he starts talking to everyone. So he's the bad kid because he is a rebel and he talks too much. And he was like, Professor, what can we do? Because I get so bored.
Aww,
so maybe I can do something else if I can show you that I have already learned the lesson. And he was lucky enough to have an amazing teacher who said, yeah, what do you like to do? He was like, draw. Okay. So after the first lesson, he took out his drawing tools and started drawing while everybody else was in the lesson. And it works wonders. Then, like, he went from below zero conduct to very well educated, very well mannered, very silent kid, just because he made everyone aware of what worked for him, how he could learn, and how he could let the others learn. Because you cannot learn if someone is talking to you and he's your friend.
Of course, of course.
So what if you could empower your kid to talk about what works for him by talking about what works for you?
Yeah, totally. I love that. It's also the willingness to have your kids have their voice and just say, what is it? What will work? And I recall that I have, like, as a kid, when I was in elementary school, there was a patch of land that was not used. And I always loved like plants and just digging in the soil and getting dirty and stuff. And so I went, my parents didn't know about it, but I made a whole thing, like a presentation, really what a presentation would be. And I was like 7, and I went into the director office and I said, okay, so there is this patch of land and nobody's using, and I thought maybe I could use it because, and I just gave him a speech, and the guy was like, okay. And he gave me keys to go out and in of the school, and he actually bought me like tools to work and etc. And he asked me, who do you want to work with? And I said, I'm gonna ask, and I just made a survey, and I didn't, and I never thought about telling my parents. I was like, yeah, that's it. And then they went, I'm asking, I'm knocking on the door of the guy, and if he says no, at least I would have asked. And my parents once came home after, the talk with the teacher, And they were like, so you have a garden that I mean, what is it that you're doing with the garden? I was like, oh, I just have this patch of land. I'm planting veggies. And they were like, I didn't know anything. And I was like, oh, I didn't thought I had to tell you. But I do. I mean, I'm really happy. And they were like, okay, that's fine. But I see that if you don't tell them or show them otherwise, kids spontaneously have that burst of energy of, okay, what will work? What is fine for me? And they do not have a point of view about asking and being rejected. Also, because they're super persistent, let's face that too. they can suck the life out of you and still keep on asking for that same, I don't know, entertainment thing or game or candy or whatever. No. And it's so awesome because when you see it, you're like, oh, no is never no. I mean, they never take it as a no, as a definitive thing in any sort of way.
Maybe they don't take it personal.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, it's not right now.
Exactly.
Maybe tomorrow she will change her opinion.
Exactly.
And that is so natural. You can see that, for example, in pets too. Like my dog will always ask everybody for food.
Of course.
And maybe someday someone will give her something.
Exactly.
And they usually do, because she's very, very good in the image realm. She's a very good actress. She's like, oh my God, I have never, ever, ever tasted fry. And my mother is so mean. She doesn't give me any food. You can see I'm super, super thin. I'm dying of hunger. And of course, everybody gives her food.
Exactly. But also, it's not like, if you think about it, which is awesome, rejection is not a reality in our universe. It's like, I will get it one way or the, but it's not like from that, it's not from being engaged in the result, but in the willingness to rather play and ask and ask. And if not this way, if I stand on one paw, then would you give it to me? And if I make big, Puss in Boots eyes, then would you give it to me? Or if I bark, would you give it to me? What will work? And I wonder, what would it take for us to be that for ourselves, to just retrain, reset our old, flow of thinking and behaving back into the everything is possible mood. Like, let's see how I'm gonna reach that one.
I love that question. Like, how can we use our looks to get what we want?
Oh gosh, for example, what would that? I love that. Let's talk about that. Forget the kids. Let's talk about that. No, but like, yeah. And what would it be to teach them, actually? Because it's actually, the image is something that parents usually, and I'm not going to say that everyone does, but it's kind of, I see that many parents are really worried that their kids might show as different as they are. And so they kind of try to bring them back into the like normalcy spectrum in a way. Like, you're awesome, and I don't know, you sense the roots of the trees growing, but don't go and say to anyone. Rather, say thank you and please. That's what we go for in this planet. So,
and also don't dress too weird. Like, it's fantastic that you love Spider-Man, but you cannot go dressed like Spider-Man every day to everywhere, because then they will think I am crazy.
Oh yeah.
And that's the little twist. Like, what if it is not about you?
Yeah. Indeed.
I love what Gary Douglas, the founder of Access, says. Like, kids are not small versions of ourselves. They are infinite beings in a small container.
Yeah.
They are learning to use the container, but they have all the wisdom of an infinite being, all the knowing of an infinite being. How can we honor that and teach them how it can work for them to their advantage?
Totally. Yeah, and they will experiment. I know that I like my kids at phases where they just wanted to dress with the shirt, and I was like, let's make this straight. I love you. I'm gonna occasionally iron shirts. Cool, we can have someone that come and helps us out with the stuff at home, but if you're gonna change 3 shirts a day, you will need to iron your own shirts, because like, there is a things that we are in a kind of a little community, which is just our household, and you need to be able to take care of yourself too. And that is actually what I don't know, like more in the spirit of empowering rather than protecting. It's a bit the sense that I don't know, I always grew my kids with the energy of like, you need to take care of yourself and be able to take care in all the, like cooking or keeping yourself clean or keeping yourself warm enough or being happy or asking for alone time if you have too many brothers on you,
Oh yeah.
or having a good relationship with yourself, like building a good relationship with yourself. And I see, for example, these things for the youngest kid, he's used to have animals and brothers and people around all the time. So it was like he had a difficult time in spending alone time. So he started listening to, and he actually started listening in Spanish to access classes and crochet. So he would stick earphones in his ears and then crochet, because that was the only way where he had enough going on that he could be by himself. And then, and then things changed and he stopped crocheting and just went on with the classes. And, I'm not seeing him since a bit, so I don't know how it's going to be, because I'm that horrible mother that sent them to Argentina for a month and a half, but they're coming back.
Fantastic.
It is. So what else would you, I don't know, what tool? Well, you do actually gave so many tools already, but like, what if there was one tool that you could give parents regarding projection?
Be a horrible mother.
Be an horrible mother.
and trust that your kid knows. And I just have to say something about what you were saying about your kid. When my son finished high school, he came back. He went to Europe with his friends. They did 1 month and a half on their own. Mm-hmm. And he came back and he was like, "Mother, I have to confess something to you." I'm like, "Okay." I was like, "What did he do?" No?
Like, okay, sure. I'm gonna sit. You talk.
And he was like, "I used to think you were a horrible mother because you made me cook. You made me ask in the shops for what I wanted. You made me like learn how to clean, how to make my bed." And my friends didn't have that. Like they had someone to tend for them all the time.
Yeah.
And then in Europe, what happened is he was like the mother because he was the only one who could choose a restaurant. He was the only one who could cook a meal. And it was like, this is so crazy. So he came back and he was like, "Sorry, Mom, I thought you were horrible, but you were not that bad." Exactly. So what if you could be a horrible mother and empower your kids to fend by themselves to their level? Of course, you will not send an 8-year-old to Europe on a tour by his own.
Yeah, of course.
But you can always make them choose what works for them, even in the looks. Like if they don't like long hair because they are girls and they really don't like long hair, cut it. It's their hair, it's not yours. Even if you want your princess, no?
Totally. Yeah, and it's actually, that's a great way also to teach how choice creates. I know that once, like, my kids went to cut their hair, and then I was like, "Do you want to get your hair colored?" And they were like, "Yes." And so one of them got them blue, the other one got them red, and the other one got them half blue and half red. And it was like, okay, it was like, if you're not going to experiment now, I'd rather have you experiment when the whim takes you and you're like, "I color my hair," or "I put nail polish on," or whatever it is, and then see how it is. And then if it's fun, then you can choose it again. Otherwise, that it's not as, I don't know, intriguing. I know that my eldest kid recently went to a girlfriend of him, and this friend just put eyeliner on him, and he said, "I look really good." But the hassle of taking that makeup off, it's no way. It's great. I can do it for a concert, but I wouldn't do it daily. And I was like, "Oh, girl, I'm with you. I understand it. I'm the same in a way. I like, yeah, the makeup is great, but I don't want to take it off." So, but like what, like really what empowerment can we be and allow them to explore, and what if we trusted them enough that, you know, even if they hate themselves with blue air, they're gonna make a different choice. And it's not like, ha, I told you, but it's rather, oh, we didn't know it, now we know. Coloring the hair might not be our brightest moment. Okay, what else next?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I love that. And if it is not like life threatening or can cause harm, like you can experiment whatever, at least once. I used to do that with my kid when he was little, like try food once. If you don't like it, you don't have to eat it.
Yeah.
But try it once. So he realized he liked some things that were looking horrible according to him, and some things that looked delicious were horrible. And it worked.
Yeah.
So what if we answer some of the questions that you sent?
Let's go.
There is one that we already answered, which is like, how can we teach our kids to not buy our projections? And the answer is stop having projections.
Did you like that answer? Maybe not, but never mind.
But if you teach them how to do it, they will copy. They will definitely copy. And then there is one that says how to deal with miscarriage and with the fact that there is no children. So in this question, in Access, we have tools that are about talk to the entities. So maybe you would love to have a class, an intro class or a 2.5 day class of the beginning of Talk to the Entities, where you will learn to talk to the entities that could be your kids. You can totally do that. And there is one that says what to do when you have kids and you want to be a good Indian girl. Stop being Indian.
First off, stop being Indian.
You can totally play Indian. Like if everybody expects you to be a good Indian girl, you can play the part like in the theater, but don't believe it.
Yeah.
So ask yourself, do I really want kids? Do I really want kids? If I was being me, if I could choose anything in my life, would I choose a kid?
Totally. And I love it.
Am I having kids for my mom or for my grandmom or for my culture?
Exactly. And that's actually what, since you mentioned, there is this question about like, you know, being a good Indian girl, how many projection, how many point of view your culture has about having kids, what age, and like in Italy, the biggest energy. And it's very interesting because it's quite hidden, like since the women's league, so liberation movement, and you know, like, you know, the things that went like that, like a girl required the bra as much as a fish required a bicycle. So no, a girl required a man as much as a fish required a bicycle. So not very much. And there were all these like statement of like, well, of like stating your independence, but also like proving and kind of with a little bit of force, showing that you were different, that you could, which of course you're different, but no, I mean, you know, if you know it, you don't need to fight for it in a way, you know, or defend it in a way. So it's sorry, it is interesting how, like, for example, in Italy, the underlying energy still is when you have kids, you have arrived. That's it, you know. And like, I don't know, I had kids quite young for Italy. I had my first kid when I just turned 21. And I was like, man, I'm not arrived anywhere. I mean, I'm just starting with so many things. I got so much to create. And it cannot be any arrival point. And that wouldn't even, I don't know, be kind to me. And I don't even think that would be kind to my kids in a way, because it's, I mean, if they're my arrival point, then all I can do from now on is obsess about them. And I don't know, try to control or direction every single step in their life, which, you know, where are you in this equation? You know, if you're constantly worrying about directing your kids' choices, geez, I mean, it's a lot of work.
And the other thing is, start adding things to your life. And then maybe you will be happy enough to choose for you instead of to choose for what everybody else will think.
Mm. Thank
And
you.
I don't know if there's another question. I'm sorry, is that?
Yeah. No, please. I mean,
says my daughter is having twins. The doctor has projected that she will deliver 34 weeks and they will have to go to ICU. How to override thought, program beliefs, and how the situation should unfold. So what I would totally suggest is run her bars and don't believe the doctor. And also don't resist the doctor. Talk to the kids. Hey, when do you want to be born? What if we could choose is joy and glory? And maybe 34 weeks is not bad. Maybe it's not good also, but it's what can everybody choose that has nothing to do with what is normal and what is real. And the only way that you can get there is to looking at your own considerations. What do you think will happen at 34 weeks? What will you think will happen at the ICU? Maybe the ICU is the greatest thing that can happen. If you have decided that is terrible, ask yourself if you are cursing your daughter and your kids just because of the projections. Your daughter has to obey you. She's your daughter. Are you making her obey you to go to the hospital, to the ICU, just because she loves you so much, she wants you to be right?
And it's actually also interesting how I mean, in Italy, we say premature birth, as if mature was starting from, I don't know, whatever week it is, but 9 months, as if the body of the baby could be ready and formed just in a determined moment of time, where maybe having twins would be easier to, let them out a little bit before, so they're smaller, the birth can be a little bit easier, and then they can be taken care of. And there is a question that we have live that I'm loving that says, I was pregnant, but I killed it and I'm a little guilty about it. I don't know if you, and I've killed it twice. Do you mean like abortion? Because like killing, or I don't know, or you stop abortion. Okay. What gift do you want to take it, Elena? Sorry.
Yes. So the first question is,
it's who just texted this.
Sure, Gitaka.
The first question would be, is it true?
Yes. Sorry?
The first question would be, is it true that you killed it?
Yeah, because I didn't want it.
Oh.
And I said, you have to go. And I said, hey, entity, whoever you are, you have to go. If you don't go, I'll kill you because I don't want you. But it didn't went so, and I killed you. Sorry, I'm so sorry. You have to go. I'm a little hurt about it. I'm a little guilty about it because I think this entity wanted to come. And I knew this entity. Who is this entity? I can't take that. I'm a small kid. I said, I'm actually small. I can't take you.
So what if this entity was choosing you because exactly for that, because you are who you are and you will do whatever you do? What if guilt is only a lie and you did what works for everyone?
No. Guilt is just a lie, but sometimes you just feel it that, you kill somebody.
So how
much part?
How much are you being the result of everybody's projection? What if death? What if death is a fantastic energy? It's an energy that changes things, not in a very comfortable way, but it changes everything. Like you die and you change even your body. And what if it is not wrong or bad? It's what works for you. And if you chose it, what is the value of
but it has caused a lot of different things inside my body, like a lot of heat, a lot of pimples, a lot of I don't know, but then I'm not liking it.
Well, and
That way.
you can also look at, I mean, you use two terms. You use killed and spoiled, which are interesting because there is a bit of charge. Like, you know, killing someone would be, you know, killing someone would be taking a deliberate action that kills someone. And you said, you asked, you were like, hey, baby, not the right time. I'm not choosing that. Thank you. Please go. Okay. And you made it happen. And you just said, like, I'm a spoiled kid. And
And
spoiled
I
is
waited for like 25 days and I said that, please, I want you to go naturally. Please go. Please go. Please go. Every damn day I said this entity to go. But this entity said, no, I want to stay. And I said, no, you can't because I can't keep you. Still, it didn't want to do it. And I said, then you have to go. I have to take a pill now.
Mhm.
And then after 25 days, I just took a pill and I said, dude, you have to go.
Yeah.
That way.
But what if that is, I mean, like it is a choice to get pregnant and it is a choice to get rid of a baby. And what if it's
I
just a
actually
choice?
got pregnant with a very random guy, but then I fell in love with him. He fell in love with me. If we're not together, I don't get this point. And I said, then dude, you
So,
have to go from life. If you
do you
love
have
me,
a question,
you
Gitika?
don't love
Do you have
me,
a
you fuck
question?
off. You better fuck off. I said, you better fuck off. You go.
Gitika,
this kid has to go.
Gitika, hey.
Yes. I'm
Do
so
you have a
sorry.
question or do you just love your story?
I just have a question that every time I like a person, I don't get to be in a relationship with him. I don't want to be in a relationship basically. I've lots of men around me. But then somewhere down the line I've realized that I can't be with someone. What do I do with this? I mean, even if I would like to be with the person, I'm not able to.
So this is a class about being a
Pregnancy
mom.
projection, yes. And you can, thank you, Elena. And you can also look at any like creationship as an entity for itself. So like, let's say a baby, like a new thing that gets created in the world. And what if you just started asking some questions, and rather than judging yourself or the person or the situation, being like, okay, is that gonna work? As this conversation, like as this relationship, an expiring date already, which is great. I mean, you can enjoy the heck out of a couple of nights stand, you know. You can even get pregnant and then, you know, abort the baby because it doesn't work for you. Whatever. I mean, I know it sounds kind of harsh, but whatever floats your boat, whatever is fun for
It's
you.
kind of little more harsh on my body. Sometimes I feel it's not harsh on other person, it's harsh on my own side.
But
What you
then
love
you have
about
to
it.
look at what works for you and what are you choosing. If you hate your body, you can hate your body whatever you want.
I love my body. Like every damn day I just say, how did I get so lucky to have this body? I can't hate this body definitely.
And treat it well.
I'm so fond of my own body. Like my body is very beautiful. I just love it. I mean,
Cool.
don't say that.
So how does
And
it get
as-
even better?
Coming
Yeah.
to actors, I've realized.
then you
I'm
can ask
so
your
good.
body, are you going to get pregnant? And then don't have sex.
And I'm very fond of sex too.
But you
Yeah.
can be fond of sex and not stupid.
You're right. I got it.
If you ask, if you don't want to have a baby, you ask, are we going to get pregnant? Yes, okay, so maybe today we are not going to, or we use a condom.
So
There are so many ways to not get pregnant.
Like I think 8 years back, and then now, and I decided to have this with the person And somehow down the line, I don't understand. Like, if I want somebody, they want me to, they can't be in a relationship with me, or they don't want to be with me. I don't get this point.
So
Okay.
maybe you need a private session.
Yeah, that is actually, I think it's not a conversation for now. I mean, I'm super thankful for the question that you have been asking and what you brought up, because, you know, it gave this conversation a chance to talk about like abortion and the sense of guilt and whatever that is like relevant to this conversation. But I think that to go further down this conversation, you might really want to, you know, ask and get a private session with someone that can empower you with, you know, relationship or whatever you're looking at right now. But thank you so much for asking, Gitika. And I also think that is the kind of a wrap. I mean, Elena, do you have anything that you want to add about? Because I mean, we kind of had in mind to stick within an hour, and we kind of went a little bit overboard.
Just one more thing about the culture is how much people think that the baby will give them a relationship.
Yeah,
And they want to leave their house and they get the baby, and then they wait, and they will
One
be
second.
they will be without the relationship and with the baby. So it is really important to ask these questions.
Indeed. I love it. I think that there is.
Can I ask her, like, I mean, why would I have a baby for having a relationship specifically with a person I would not like to be with? So question can I ask her, like, just a normal question rather before taking a session, like a personal session. Like, what question can I ask? Like being gentle to my body.
What do I love about this that I'm not getting, and what is right about this that I'm not getting?
What
It
do
might
I
be a
love
little bit,
that I'm not?
yeah.
Right.
Because if if you still keep on creating the same thing, there must be something that you like about it. You know, there must be a value in that. So, you know.
I love your eyes. I mean, just looking at your eyes. I love this eye.
Thank you so much. Okay. I think that, I mean, I love all the questions that came out, and actually super grateful for how this conversation moved and morphed and expanded in the whole like week. And I'm super grateful that we kind of ended with the looks, like with the kind of a little bit the bridge between pregnancy and parenting almost. What next? Elena, thank you so much. I'm so grateful that you
Thank you, Chiara. It was awesome. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you for everyone who is going to see this, that has seen this now and in the future. And what else is possible?
What else? I'm going to ask you also if you can, I will ask you for your details so people can find you if they want to have that private session or just have a, further know what is possible with, what shenanigans are going on in your lives. And
so yeah, you can find me at Elela White, which is very weird. ELELA.
I'm gonna post it in the comment. I'm gonna post it in the comment so everyone can just click on that.
Fantastic.
And
right now I'm working on horses, which are very much like little babies because they are very energetic. Tomorrow will the Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider certification training, and I will have a class by the end of the month.
Wow. Yes, please. Yes, please. That is such a great yeah, I love that. And we've been talking quite a bit about us being mammals of consciousness. So, it can be another way to take it. And it is a wrap. So thank you, everybody, for being part of this conversation. I know that we just moved and just tickled into existence different energies and brought some information and question where there were a little bit of conclusions, etc. So does it get even better? This week is over. There's going to be a playlist where all the interviews are going to be. So you're going to receive an email and everything is going to be there. And how does it get even better? So thankful.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Elena.
you, Kiara.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Ciao, ciao.